John 14, verses 1 through 3. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. The most important thing in Mary's life is her faith, and this is one of her favorite Bible verses. My name is Lauren, and I will be telling you about the life of Mary Reddel and how she grew in her faith with God. Mary Pat Johnson was the first child to be born to Arlene Rosendahl and Fred Johnson on the 1st of March in 1957. Mary was born at the Mount Sinai Hospital with bright blue eyes and light-colored hair, and she welcomed her brother Gerd Johnson into the world about a year later on February 27th in 1958. Shortly after Mary was born, her parents unfortunately got divorced, and she and her mother then went up to live with Arlene's parents until they got settled into a small house they would later find to be in Humboldt, Iowa. This is where Mary spent her entire childhood with her mom and her brother. Her mother then got remarried to Clifford Shantlin in 1973. While Mary was growing up, her mom was a stay-at-home mom and she loved to garden. One thing Mary loved in her early years was the Rosenthal family reunion in Manson, Iowa. She liked to spend time at the park and play with a lot of cousins that she could only see once a year. She never remembered rain on a family reunion day. Christmas time was always a lot of fun for Mary. First, her mother would give her $10. That doesn't sound like much, but with that she could get a bottle of perfume for her mother, a toy car for her brother, a small gift like a coloring book or crayons for the school gift exchange, and a pretty brooch or necklace for the teacher. Sometimes Mary would have change left over, and back then you could get 10 Tootsie Rolls for a penny, and that was a present to herself. The best part of Christmas to Mary was having her grandma come and visit. She brought lots of presents and would help her mom bake. One thing that amazes Mary today is how everyone thinks that they absolutely need to have a cell phone. Mary's family only had one phone, and it was on a party line. So if you wanted to call someone, you would lift up the phone to see if somebody else was on the line. If nobody was, then you could call someone. And Mary's family didn't use the phone very much because there was always other things that had to be done. Mary didn't really have designated chores. She was expected to keep her room neat, make her bed every morning, and do the dishes. And doing the dishes meant cleaning off the table, scraping plates, filling the dishpan with soapy water, and washing and drying them by hand, because back then there was no dishwasher. In the summer, Mary was expected to weed the garden, and when she got old enough, shovel the snow in winter. Back then, Mary's family had a television, but it only got 3 stations: ABC, NBC, and CBS. In the evening, depending on the night, Mary watched a few of her favorite shows, which were Bonanza, Lassie, My Friend Flicka, Flipper, and The Wonderful World of Walt Disney. Growing up, Mary was very artistic and musical. A gift that she got was a red Chief paper pad and a box of 100 Crayola crayons, and with that, she would lay out on the floor and draw for hours. Mary also loved to crochet, which her grandmother taught her how to do. Another gift that Mary got was a chord organ, and she used that for a year of piano lessons that she took from a lady who lived next door. She is very thankful for the gift of learning to play, and she has used that gift her entire life. One of her favorite gifts was a sewing machine from her Aunt Fay. Mary had just started 4-H, and one of the club leaders took an interest in Mary and taught her how to read patterns and sew. Her mom allowed her to order fabric out of the Montgomery Wart's catalog, and she eventually ended up making most of her clothes. In the 5th grade, Mary broke her arm in a contest to see who could jump the farthest out of a swing, which is not a very bright idea. She, the champion, was trying to beat her own record. She swung out as far as she could, jumped out of the swing, and slipped, which caused her to strike her left wrist hard on the ground. They had to call the doctor at his home because there wasn't a hospital in town. So they went up to his house, which was also his office, and he set her arm and put a cast on it. This happened a week before her summer vacation, so she missed out on all the fun things that happened that summer. As a teenager, Mary had several different jobs. She babysat for several people, and in the summer, she detasseled seed corn. Her favorite job was working at the A&W restaurant. She started working outdoors as a car hop. Then, she moved her way up to working inside, where she took orders and made root beer floats and malts. Mary met her husband, Larry Reddel, at the restaurant. He stopped one summer day on his way down to Fort Dodge to visit his sister, and he ordered an ice cream cone. Mary took the cone out to Larry, and he said it was love at first bite. In both Mary's junior and senior year, she was involved in band and choir, and she enjoyed them very much. Later on, Mary finished high school early because she had her entire course completed, and she got married to Larry Reddel that winter on the 21st of December in 1974. She didn't attend her graduation because she moved to a small apartment in Wesley, and she never went to college. All four of their children, David, Pamela, Ann, and Robert, were born in Wesley, but in 1979 they moved to Corwith, Iowa, until the mid-90s. Larry worked a few months for his dad before starting his career in the farm equipment business. Mary was a stay-at-home mom, but she made money by babysitting, sewing for others, and operating a home cake decorating business. Graduation time was always busy for Mary because sometimes she would have as many as 40 graduation cakes to make. Mary also made my parents' wedding cake. In 1985, the Reddel family bought a farm equipment dealership in Corwith, and Larry hired an accountant to teach Mary how to do the books, so she learned in a hands-on sort of way. Years later, when they sold their business, Mary was able to get office jobs because of her experience as a bookkeeper for the farm equipment dealership. The Reddel family has always been active in church. While her children were growing up, Mary played the organ for church, accompanied the children's choir, and taught the Sunday school. One of Mary's favorite Bible verses is 3 John chapter 1, verse 4, which says, "I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in the truth." It's one of her favorite verses because she wants her children to walk in the way of God. Some of the things that Mary has enjoyed most about her life have been her family, home, and many good friends. She learned as life goes along that the most important thing in life is not things. She didn't always have fancy things, but her husband Larry always made sure that their family had everything they needed. The most important thing in Mary's life has always been and always will be her faith in God. What makes Mary sad in our country is that it is getting politically incorrect to say such a thing. Our nation from its earliest beginnings had a faith in God, which made our country strong. Mary's faith is what has helped her get through many illnesses and awful historic events, like the threat of nuclear war with Russia, the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Vietnam War, the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, and Martin Luther King, Desert Storm, the fall of communism in Russia, the attacks on 9/11, the Gulf War, and who knows what else will come her way. Even though she doesn't know what the future holds, she knows that God holds the future. If she could change anything in her life, she would wish that she started faithfully spending time with God each day and reading her Bible sooner. People get very busy and have all kinds of reasons for putting faith on the back burner of their lives. The days that Mary spends time with God always turns out to be her best days. Her hope for her kids and grandkids is that they enjoy their lives and that they keep a strong faith in God. Now I will leave you with a poem that my grandma wrote over Romans 8. How sweet to know my Savior reigns. Come sorrow or joy, laughter or pain. My spirit soars, I've been set free. Jesus paid the debt that belonged to me. My life was in ruins, the outlook was grim. Now he's changing me daily to be more like him. Now my new life unfolds, and whatever the story, 'twill be for my good, as well as his glory. God spared not his son, but gave him to us. So whatever may happen, in him I can trust. So why should I worry, or ever ponder, or stray from the truth, and start to wander? Forever I'll dwell in the love of my Lord. His promise is certain, unchanging his word. I love you, Grandma. Thank you for always being there for me.